Anyway, we're recording.
I think he views himself as the Grouch, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
So
what are we doing today?
Anything you want to add on to Venezuela?
Add on? I think we should kind of lead into Venezuela by. I mean, is Venezuela how we started the show?
I guess so. Because me and Haroon did it last episode. So if you got something you want to tack on.
All right, I'm about to black out. No, I'm just playing.
Black out away, dog.
Basically, if you guys don't know, there is something that you should all know. History repeats itself, right? This is just something that you'll witness in your own lifetime over and over and over again, especially in the 21st century, you know, and it's going to happen in the future as well. So what's going on over there has been going on in other nations. And of course, the same people that's entered Venezuela is the same people that's entered the other nations. This is really a history repeating itself. We have that, you know, every human, doesn't matter if you're pious or you know, evil. Okay, maybe there is some type of greed that's within you that, you know, maybe your struggle and you're aware of it. But man, you have these people that are out here, and unfortunately, they happen to be leaders, they happen to be soldiers, they happen to just be, you know, people who have nothing for themselves, so they just fight for the cause of someone else because they don't have something going on for themselves. And there they are in another person's land where they have a different tongue, where they have different resources. But you know what? I like what you got, and I want it for myself. I'm not even going to take it and leave you some. I'm not going to show you what to do with it. And maybe, you know, one hand wash the other, you know, we could do some. I'm a businessman. You got something I like, you know? No, we going to take it. And, whoever got something to say, you're next, right? And we going to get it by blood, too. We're not just going to take it and stiff arm you. No, we're going to send some missiles over there first to let you know, like, hey, this is how we conduct our business. Oh, you thought the land of the free, the home of the brave? No, it's not that. It's not that at all. We're over there. What's happening there, even though they're Americans, I don't want the world to think this is a representation of America. When I say America, I mean the people. But as far as our leaders, trust me, we are heartbroken, we are angry, we are in disbelief. And at the same time, we know the difference between right and wrong. I don't know. I'm kind of like being a little broad. I don't want to go too much into detail, whether it's conspiracy, why we're there in the first place, or say Israel or this or that.
Yo, the orange man said it. Whoa.
Yeah, I know. It's just
it's all been said.
History repeats itself, and honestly, we have a
very
ugly way of doing things. It is what it is, and guess what? I'm sorry to say, it is only going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, I think whoever said it is what it is. I mean, that explains like 90% of life. It is what it is. I mean, like the whole like great powers are gonna do what great powers do, or powerful nations are gonna do what powerful nations do. And this is all, it goes, whether it's an individual, whether it's a company, a corporation, whether it's a state, you can go up the ladder. When anybody who's in power will seek to maybe use that power, throw their weight around in ways which will be detrimental to others. And that's just the story of civilizations, unfortunately. Yeah, so I totally agree with that, man. It's not representative of a lot of Americans, but unfortunately it is representative of some of them who are cheerleading this and will cheerlead the next war or whatever it may be. That's why sometimes I just think that this MAGA especially acts like a cult at times. They'll say, oh, we were against that, but as soon as Trump does it, oh, they just get on board and yeah, fine, he's doing it, we support it. So I'm really not a fan of cult politics on either side. think partisanship is probably the right word too, where people just line up behind whoever their guy is, right? If it's they typically go Democrat, I'm just going to line up behind the guy, or they typically go Republican, just going to line up behind this person and support him. I have zero interest in that. And honestly, if you're a principled person, how you can't be a partisan. It's just impossible to be. And so I think if you're really honest, you're going to find yourself in no man's land a lot of the times in when controversies show up, because politics often doesn't respect nuance. It does not respect nuance. That's kind of the unfortunate reality of things. And when you try to be too sincere in this world, look what happens. I mean, I kind of think about Imran Khan in Pakistan. I mean, when you try to be too real and too honest and too principled, the powers that be want to bring you down. So it is what it is.
Yeah. You would think in the social media days that we the times we live in, I mean, maybe they do things a little more discreetly or something like that, or even say things like speak in code or give that political response, like, oh, you answered that like a politician, it's very vague or unclear. No, it's Israel, it's oil, blood, Colombia next, and this and that, and go ahead and point your cameras at it, because even what ICE is doing, they're recording themselves what they're doing, right? And of course, what's happening, over there with Venezuela, that is gonna make that not just headlines, I mean, everywhere, but like this is like, it's almost like they're sending a message to anyone else and everyone else at the same time. And then like you literally kidnapping the leader with, and mind you, what Trump did prior to this? I don't know, maybe like forgive Guatemala $400 million drug like movement that's been going in here.
Honduras,
sorry, my bad, Guatemala. Like, come on, like, look at this. And then he's saying, oh, this, that, like, yo, you're a narcissist, you're a hypocrite, you're a psychopath, you're delusional, and keep it G. Like, at the end of the day, you're just doing Satan's work. There's no whis in his ear. Shaitan just goes to skips Trump and goes to someone else. I don't need anybody doing my work for me, Ani. If anything, if I come to you, it's because I need to learn from tactics that you got going on. It's like really ridiculous.
It is sending a message, right? Like, it's kind of like you said, they've been explicit about we don't want China, Russia, or any of these other competitors in our backyard. And that's been US policy for a long time, just that this hemisphere, North America, Latin America, this should be solely dominated by the US, and we should have our influence in all these countries. And that's, I think it was Marco Rubio, he was saying something like that. Yeah, we don't want China and Russia. Okay, that's very clear. So much of it is just we want access to resources, and we want to keep our competitors out. Exactly. They just be explicit about it instead of just like you said, that they'll give these political answers, some of them, but that's really what it is at the end of the day. So even if you look at these other places, they want, like the Arctic. Why is there so much Greenland and the Arctic? Why is there so much interest there? It's for resources, for trade, shipping. They don't want Russia, China, and others taking over that space. It's all just strategy and keeping access to resources and making sure your competitors stay out of there. And look at, I also think it's interesting that we didn't talk about this last time, but maybe this is relevant now. What are the chances this happens, right? This whole thing in Venezuela. And right now you have in Iran, this is another coveted prize for the West, is that the regime in Iran falls. This is a huge kind of objective for them. And not just the West. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's doing kind of Israel's bidding, because Israel probably wants this more than anybody.
Israel wants it more than anybody, but they're doing our bidding, dog. I'm going to interject on that. They ain't that powerful.
I mean,
remember what
no,
Biden said in like
do
the
it.
90s? The old man Biden said in the 90s, if Israel didn't exist, we'd make it Israel and make it exist. Sure, that dude prick is a Zionist, but he said that in public, in Congress.
It seems to me that we kind of do what they want, right? I mean, yes, we
look at that embarrassing picture from the New York Times. Netanyahu's sitting in the Oval Office next to old man Trump, who's holding the phone as Benjamin Bibi is sitting over there apologizing to Qatar in public.
I mean, still, our
With
support for them.
You're both right, by the way. You're
Huh?
both right. You're both right, but it depends on who benefits. For example, if the West benefits, then we'll do the bidding. But
yeah, we ain't to do the bidding regardless. That's on us. If we don't want to do it, we ain't gonna do it.
yeah, and if we didn't physically do it, we funded it. No matter what, our hands are in it. We're in it. We're reaping the benefits.
I think
it's called proxy. It's called proxy warfare, bro.
Yes.
It's kind of, their interests are so much aligned in many ways so it ends up being, this, we're gonna do this. Oh yeah, this also works for us too, kind of. And so, like I mentioned, Iran, both are want the same exact thing, right? So they're obviously going to be aligned on that. And in some cases, like the one you mentioned, sure, they're going to have their differences. But at the end of the day, in the grand, bigger scheme of things, the U.S. has not shown any interest in abandoning or leaving Israel.
Right.
I mean, that's
our one strong foothold in the middle of the Levant.
Yeah.
Direct access to North Africa, direct access to the East. It's a base without it being a base.
Yeah.
I had a Jewish inmate at work tell me that the current Netanyahu administration, this whole Netanyahu wave, has turned Israel into Rome. And when he told me Rome, I said, oh my God. He goes, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let me do my forecast real quick. Tell me what you think about this. So pretty much, we've been going after resources for the past however long, right? And we're going to continue doing that, right? When I say we, I don't mean Muslim Ummah. I mean, the governments of the West, right? And whoever's their so-called allies. So basically, they're going to be taking all these resources. You don't necessarily need to have, like people living there in order to control that place. So once we have all the resources, what we have? We have total dominance. What's going to happen with total dominance? So whatever, if you want to say new world order, but I would like to say one world government. So now everyone else is basically third world. And how is America going to sell this filthy idea to someone with a pure heart? They're going to do the dirty work themselves. Then they're going to say, if you don't like it, go ahead and leave. But let's be real. People are not going to leave because they're going to have the opportunity here. They're going to have clean water here. And anywhere else they go, they're probably not going to have electricity 24 hours or clean water, or it's going to be violent and it's going to be chaotic, and you're not even going to have your own police. Like, the police are not there to protect you. They're there to keep you in order. So I think it's going to be turning into a one world government, because at the end of the day, once we have all the resources, we just have dominance. We have dominance, and we can just do and say whatever we want. And we don't have to worry about someone else sanctioning us, because we have all the power to be. Maybe a few other places might have a little bit of their own thing going on, like maybe Saudi, UAE, Israel. Russia, probably not. Russia, even today, is just the majority is poverty. They may have crazy people who are willing to fight, but if you're willing to fight, you're willing to die, and you're willing to sacrifice. America, they don't think like that. All they need to do is push a button, or Sun Tzu, your enemy's enemy is my friend. That's why Israel's going against Palestine. It's not like America likes the Muslim world or the Middle East. No. Oh, you're going to fight our battle for us? What do you need? Money, weapons, funding? Take that. Take that. Your enemy's enemy is my friend. That's it. Sun Tzu. Then I don't know. I think it's gonna lead to like, you know, a world dominance, if it hasn't already. And what's gonna happen is just a new world order. And all these people that think they're safe. Look at Egypt. I gotta bring that up. I saw this coming 3 years ago, right? And everyone told Egypt, yo, don't think you're safe just because you comply with Israel. Do not think you're safe. They'll come for you next.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think now when you look at the world, I mean, there's definitely what you see. You see, the U.S. for many years has been the leading power, leading superpower, right? And this has kind of been ever since they came out of the Cold War. Before it was kind of U.S. Soviet Union kind of competing with each other. And then after that, it was the U.S. really emerging as the power. And even going back, you can say, I mean, after post World War II, the U.S. really emerged as a superpower. And now, the thing that might be different now is that you have more of yes, the U.S. is still in the lead, very much so, depending on who you talk to. Very much so in the lead when it comes to economy, military, technology, all these. If you were to do a metric stat by stat comparison and put the US up with China or any of these, yes, the US is going to be head and shoulders above them. But at the same time, I think that despite the fact that the US is still in such a prime position, that doesn't mean I think that they're going to be successful in everything they try to do, because there's still a lot of China is still obviously a rising power. Russia has still caused a lot of problems for Western interests, particularly in Ukraine. I mean, the West has backed Ukraine for years, and they still haven't been able to, push back Russia or even come to some deal. I mean, this is a big failure of the Trump administration. They said they were peace presidents, said they were going to bring peace there. But anyway, I still think that despite the U.S.'s strength and its alliance system, I mean, it won't be just easy, I think, to just get what they want, especially in an environment that is likely becoming more and more multipolar, where you have more powers eventually competing for the resources and competing for wealth and competing for dominance in the system. So I think, and even another thing is just if like the whole dollar system, right? Everybody is trading in the dollar is really the world's reserve currency. And this is what everybody's been trading in. All these major commodities like oil and whatnot, they're traded in the dollar. And there's been so much talk over the years. Countries, even they're doing currency swaps and trade in other currencies, like China with, I think they were doing it with Venezuela.
The BRICS currency.
BRICS currency. There've been Brazil's in there,
Brazil, Russia, China. I don't know. India is the I.
South
Brazil,
Africa,
Russia, India, BRI, who's C? China, S is South Africa.
Yeah.
That was the original team.
And so that, I mean, maybe not right now, but those type of alliances or those type of initiatives could slowly chip away at U.S. supremacy regarding their currency and their dollar. So I don't think this is why the U.S. is acting the way it is, to be honest. They're at its core, yes, the U.S. is throwing its weight around, but they're also afraid that you have others that could potentially challenge the U.S. is in the, like China could challenge them in the Pacific. This is why we formulated this alliance with Australia. What is this? That AUKUS alliance. I mean, U.S. is trying to shore up its alliances in Eastern Pacific. Why? Because China's growing navy, and China's been harassing other countries in the South China Sea, and they're making it look like, yeah, we're going to take Taiwan like any second right now. So much of so much of U.S. behavior is being done out of greed, but also fear of competitors. Yeah, but anyway, I don't want to keep going on this. We can transition or something.
I don't know. Do you guys have up the topic list for the day? No? Okay. Hashtag being prepared. The rest of them. So, bro, Haroon, there was the thing.
Yeah.
Does big tech do more harm than good?
Does big tech do? Yeah. So that one, I thought I was gonna say
the debate, reason versus. I didn't watch it though.
Did you check it out? So basically, I looked at.
We mentioned it last episode, but if the link was here the whole time.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of interesting, and I thought it was relevant too, because we were talking about AI and all this stuff. I remember talking about it with Abu Hamza even after that other podcast, and then I saw this whole thing, and I thought, wow, that'd be an interesting thing to talk about. When both sides, honestly, they agreed with each other on one perspective. They said that yes, we believe big tech is doing good and bad. So these big tech companies and what they're pushing out and what they're doing, and obviously we know their names, but their disagreement do the harms outweigh the benefits? And the other side said, one side said the harms outweigh them, and the other side said the benefits outweigh the harms. And so I think what I kind of noticed was the people who were saying the benefits are greater, they were giving the things the things like this, that, oh, it's good, things like social media, they're good for businesses, they can use them as platforms to sell things. Amazon, they make things so easy. I can just purchase something, it's at my door, I don't have to leave anywhere. You can stay connected with people. It's your whole world on your phone. I can just search up anything I want. Everything is so convenient. Technology has made our lives so much better, and AI is in accelerating that. So they kind of had these arguments, and then the other side approached it from the angle of, yes, fine, okay, we have those benefits, but at the same time, just think about the harms that are being unleashed and that we've seen that big tech has done with surveillance, mass surveillance, and we know all this, mass surveillance and use of AI in warfare and use by militaries. And so I kind of more sided with I would say it does more. I get the benefits, but at the same time, maybe the harms are kind of scary. What do you guys kind of think when you hear this discussion? I don't want to talk too much.
It's such a tuna student.
What?
It's such a tuna student. He's thinking like Sheikh Hamza. One of Sheikh Hamza argues that you can like boil down the whole Sharia and to like increasing the benefits and decreasing the harms as much as possible.
Yeah,
and
that's
harms is the slippery slope.
It's kind of like warding off harms takes precedence over acquiring benefits. Isn't that
that's one of the maxims? Why? There's a maxim that
that's
says
one of the maxims.
It's one of the it's one of the
This is Islamic law.
This is Islamic law 101, dude. This is like basic usul right here.
Oh, this is good. That's a good that's a really good point. I didn't think about it like that. I was just thinking like a utilitarian. Like,
no, screw utilitarianism. Like,
but yeah, no, that's good. They mentioned so many interesting things. Just think about what's kind of scary is the whole public private partnership of these groups. Like now governments, if they want something, they can just go to these tech companies and just command them and compel them and order them to give us data, censor stuff, ban stuff for us. So there's that aspect of it, and there's also the aspect of it that they're controlling. They're going to end up, and this is already happening, just like mass control of people, getting people in an addiction loop where you open up your phone and social media companies like Meta and them, they've curated perfect feeds for you that get you trapped more and more into your interests and your addictions and your desires, and it's hard for people to leave and escape that. And so it is a type of control, and also people they're what are they doing with data? There was that FTC report that came out I think a year ago or something, but they found that all these companies like WhatsApp and YouTube and Meta and whatnot, they've been collecting data, selling it to third parties. Who are these third parties? And they're so everything if you're online, you are exposed in a way, in some way, right? So we just kind of have to unfortunately live with that. You can't, and even if you wanted to erase all your data,
I'm jumping in. You could erase all the data. Google provides means for you to clear out your thing. If you have an Android phone, I don't know how to do it on iPhones, but if you do have an Android phone,
can it be fully cleared?
Yeah, because they put themselves legally liable.
But stuff can be held in a cloud, right?
I know, but then they wipe that out. That's what the claim is. And if it gets found out that they're not meeting up their own standards, class action lawsuit, judge, the whole nine. It can become a legal nightmare if they don't comply. But how many people are to put in the work?
Yeah, I mean, this is
so.
What,
it's like from a Muslim perspective, though. Like when I sit and it's like, especially when it comes to tech, from a Muslim perspective, we have this. The tech is here. It's in the palm, literally, like in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
The question is, what's going to guide a person to do one or the other? That's what I think about. What's going to guide that person to use it to do one or the other?
That's my thought. That's where my mind went.
You use it for good or bad. We put those genes when like LLM started to become a thing. It was like some lab, like an Ivy League lab. They fed it information on a bunch of whole genomes for like some disease. And they said, go pair up all the scenarios in this situation. And start pairing up the different genome processes to things that our technology at the moment can't, compute. And just things that have never been thought about before. And it says, oh snap, now you can make vaccines or some type of treatment for a disease that doesn't exist yet. Or just doesn't exist, period. It's fantastic. The Verge, they did a whole thing on, there was enough comments that triggered a whole episode on their main podcast of those Meta AI glasses and how more and more people who have disabilities are using them. Because they'll be at the supermarket looking around, they can barely see, hey, Meta, I'm looking for blank. Oh, third shelf from the top on the right side. Cool. You pick it up, you put it in the thing, you keep it moving.
Yeah.
Plus, and like I tried on a pair once, like the speakers are loud enough where you can hear it more than clear. People around you can barely hear it. It's freaking cool. CES just finished.
You can take pictures with that thing.
Yeah, don't be weirdo, people. Stop taking pictures. I don't want to see you at work, right? What's the other thing? CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. That is like wrapping up or just finished, and you find the rise of like technology using AI to help people that need it. It's coming in 2026. Or we could use it to make anthrax recipes, and what's going on with Grok right now and Twitter, like child nudes, AI made. They're being distributed. Nobody's doing nothing about it.
That's a good point, man. Like they're definitely the use, because I think this also applies to things that we think are primarily evil, or for instance nuclear research. When we hear nuclear, we just think of nuclear bombs, nuclear weapons, but maybe that research can also be used to make advancements in healthcare or something, right?
I was in a hospital
in the cancer treatments and whatnot.
I forget why I was in the hospital. I got wheeled around to do an MRI. I think it was for my arm. I got wheeled around once to do an MRI, and I look out down the hall, and it said nuclear medicine. And I turned around, I looked up to the nurse or the technician. I go, nuclear medicine. It goes, yeah, you can expose the body to a certain degree of like certain quote unquote nuclear elements that help take images, and you can see the body in a different way that an MRI and a CAT scan can't.
They use that to fight against cancer, I think. Radiation.
You could also do radiation for cancer, but different than nuclear medicine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's
really good.
That's mad cool. Where the heck was I? This was in Jamaica.
Job creation too.
That's it.
Boom for the economy.
I'm saying.
Right.
So, like, Nadir, you asked the question: what industry should Muslims be in charge of? In community in the Ummah. Does this start to answer your question, bro?
That's not. I don't know. I don't think that's like a answer.
Yeah, but what industries? For me, it's all.
Oh. So I say all of them, but I think there are certain things that I don't want to use the word prioritize, but certain fields that kind of need Muslims there ASAP, right? For example, like within these tech companies, right? Because look, astaghfirullah, we have people who have weird fetishes, especially with Muslim people. Now they're gonna take a Muslim girl, whoever, that's one of our sisters, right? Of the ummah, and they're going to say, oh, this is what this person looks like, and the person's gonna be like, what the heck, you know what I mean? Like, they ever see it? So we need to be in these tech spaces, right? We need to be in these secure places. We need to be within these big companies too, like Google and things like that. As much as, yes, we need to boycott, maybe some we boycott, like Microsoft, for example. We need Muslims there. They need if Muslims are present in the West and Microsoft is in the West, we need Muslims there. It's not extreme. It's not against going Allah. As long as you have the niyyah is to protect the ummah. We all have a duty, right? Our first duty is to spread the message, to do some type of da'wah. But it doesn't stop there. It's not like, okay, I did my part, or I do that. That's the little bit. No. And that's one thing that I remember Omar told me about. Hamza Yusuf would say, like, once you learn something, you have to go to the next step. You can't stop, especially if you're someone who's born a Muslim. Reading a little bit of Quran daily, that's not enough. Doesn't end there. You need to always progress, to do more. And this goes for the little Muslims who feel like, they have nothing going on in their life. It doesn't matter if you're, someone like Sami Hamdi, or if you're just someone like me, or if you're in mama's basement, like you still have a duty and a responsibility, But at the same time, to be more specific to the question, I think, spaces like that, and especially in the tech companies, not only stuff like that, but also in like, you see a lot more youth. This is a statistic that came out not too long ago, but you see a lot more youth going into like politics or wanting to learn about politics, right? And if you have the youth that are already in this country or in the West, and they have this, I don't want to say this brainwashing, but they have this understanding of how things need to operate, we need to have Muslims there as well, because we're just the best at everything. I'm sorry. We came with the golden era. We brought the scalpel, right? We the ones who know how to tell time, right? Not just
we took the West out of his dark ages.
Bro, look, we came here.
Ungrateful pricks.
Right? We are the only in history. And it's, by the way, this is also prophecy, so it's going to stay this way. We are the only empires to rise, fall, and rise again. No religion, no cult, no nothing other than Islam has ever rose, fell, and rose again. So we need to know that. We don't know our history like that. We think it's a little flex, like, yeah, we have the greatest prophet. That is a big flex too. But at the same time, you have so many things that happen in between, right? or from the
Yeah.
time of that. It's okay to like reference an era or another person other than the Nabi or things like that, because that person loved the Nabi just as much. So it's not like you're going to, you know, reference someone who's anti Muhammad or something like that. No, it's all good, you know. I keep taking myself away from the question of, you know, the spaces we need to be in. But
No, this is good. This kind of
Hey,
clarifies and your point.
yes,
And
yes.
it's
I know. I feel like that's a big thing, because everybody nowadays needs clarification because they got their heads in the clouds. They don't know. They need someone. Everybody needs
Or up the
someone to tell
butts.
them what to do. Everyone needs someone to explain it, because we live in that digital Google age. Oh, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna Google it or whatever. You know, no one really thinks for themselves or tries to, you know, analyze things or looks at things and in a, whether it's a nuanced way or, you know, have their own perspective on things.
yeah.
You
The
just
Sheikh
go with the
Google.
flow and see what's going on. But at the end of the day, if you do that, you're always going to finish last, because if you're going to follow the flow, you're not in a leadership position, because you waited
Yeah.
for things to happen, it to get trendy, the ball to start rolling, and now you got on board. By the time you got on the bandwagon, you're so far behind, to the point where forget it. Like, you're not even gonna be able to take up any type of leadership in that space. So we need to get on early. The good thing was that we're in, like, if you look at, you know, the Muslims, we're in medicine, we're in engineering, right? We're in law.
Not just lawyers and engineers.
You know what I mean? Like we got like a lot of
I heard Matthew Hudson speak in Wake Paramus, New Jersey, some hotel like in the Meadowlands, and he said there's one that
Tell
like
with
a
the
lot of
Quran
people.
in the drawer. No, never. Keep going.
Matthew Hudson, bro, the great British journalist. How to win
Yeah,
an
yeah.
argument.
No, I know.
Yeah, unless he did his thing on the Quran in the drawer too, I have no idea. But he goes, we need more Muslim TV producers, more Muslim news producers.
Yeah.
Because there's a small team that writes the script every day in the news, and how that'll get tweaked, all the different nuances, where you can be very subtle, invite people, give them the right questions to be asked.
Yeah.
We need poets.
Yeah,
And
I
anyone
remember.
listening, sorry, Harun, real quick. Anyone
Does,
listening, I want you to ask yourself these questions too. Don't just think what someone else has to say. Ask these questions to yourself. You know, you can reflect on that, especially something like, you know, what kind of spaces should Muslims people be in? Talk about it amongst your homies, you know, talk about it amongst your friends, amongst the MSA, right? And Masajid and this and that. Really, like, talk about it, because we have to plant ideas within each other's minds. Because guess what? I may not have the qualities of a leadership role. Maybe Allah didn't instill that for me. That's not for me, right? Maybe I'm a great follower, you know? We need good followers too, right? We need all types of people on board. But at the same time, if you don't talk about it, it's never going to reach the leadership or to the mind of a young leader or a soon-to-be leader, right? Or someone who likes to take charge or things like that. So these things, they just cannot die with us, you know. Even though we know what's Jannah, we know there's a judgment day coming. Does that mean khalas? I just clean my hands, wipe my hands, and I'm just gonna wait for the day and just do my part? No, you think when Muhammad told Umar ibn Khattab, you're going to Jannah, and he was like, but I don't have both feet in the door, right? That man could have just retired, right? Just bounced from Indonesia to Bali. Well, like, could have put him from retire, and he still would have gotten Jannah. He still would have gotten Jannah. So, like, you know, we can't just be like, oh, you know, we know Judgment Day is coming, and you know, what can we do? And blah blah blah. We're just gonna wash our hands. We cannot think like that. We cannot have that attitude. You know. Sorry, Harun, I interrupted you.
No. Everything you said. Well, honestly, what you said just made me think. Sometimes we give, and no disrespect to anybody. I mean, sometimes we give so much deference to authority and just others, when really there's so much that just everyday people, community members have like us to add and contribute to the conversation. Like what you just said would have honestly affected a lot of people in just like a standard khutbah. You don't need some sheikh with like a billion followers giving a khutbah for it to have impact. Just that what you said would be a very respectable and impactful khutbah. So I think like we also have to respect ourselves and put ourselves into these spaces as well, because we can make impact. It's not that we shouldn't have a low estimation of ourselves too, especially like we should be proud of what we can, not saying arrogant, but we should be proud of what we can bring to the table. And I remember going back to the point about going into different areas and fields and whatnot as Muslims and industries. I remember Imam Zaid, one of the things he mentioned, this was many years ago, that one of the aims of a Zaytuna College education, one of the reasons we built this institution, aside from the mission, but one of the reasons is that so that when people leave this institution, it's not that, oh, they specifically become like me. They become like me, Imam Zaid. They become like Sheikh Hamza. They become like Dr. Hatem. They become clones. It's so that you go into whatever field. Let's say you become a businessman. You become a chemical engineer. You become a this or that. You will go into whatever you do, and you will carry yourself with an Islamic ethos and with ethics. That's what you will do. I think so much of our time gets lost in discussing what is the right system, what is the right economic system or political system, or what is the reforming these companies and what type of laws we need in place. No, we need people with good hearts, people who live on an ethical basis, who live with good character. That's, I think, at the end of the day, like such a big, that will be the change maker and the really like the difference maker. And also like going against, I think Nadir, you mentioned just going against the flow, not being afraid to be different. And this is how as Muslims we have shined throughout the centuries. I mean, we want to talk about the spread of Islam and how Muslims grew. It's because we brought something different. We brought something that it went against the status quo, and people were intrigued by it, and it spoke to their hearts in a different way. We mentioned in our last pod the spread of Islam, right, by Arnold, that British historian.
Tom Arnold.
He's what?
Tom, right?
Yeah, Thomas Arnold, and he says that Islam as a civilization, it was different in the sense that in relation to Christianity was very much missionary oriented, in the sense that they had organizations, ecclesiastical order, and they would pay people, and this is your duty. Whereas with Muslims, it's kind of that everyone was playing a role. So the guy who's working in the government clerk, the teacher at school, the imam in the masjid, the I don't know, somebody who works at home, who cleans the streets, they're doing their work. And at the same time, you find them in the bazaar or at night or in different places, and they're talking about Islam. They're sharing their deen. And so it was more, everybody was involved in some way, shape, or form. Older men, women, and even he talks about the influence of women and the impact of women in the spread of Islam, and even the young. And we know that so many of these the first converts to Islam were just look at the people that Prophet, peace be upon him, he promised paradise. I mean, people like Ali and Zubair, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, and so many of these. When you look at their conversion to Islam, it's all like teenagers, and they're all so young, right? Yeah. And so and they're making an impact at such an early age, and then going on to become like governors and leaders and instrumental in the spread of Islam. So that's where I think we have to really take stock is respecting our own skills and talents, going against the grain, and making Islam, making our Islam visible, and dawah. I think sometimes we shy away from it. For instance, let's say maybe we don't want to dress a certain way because we don't want to offend people, or maybe we're afraid to pray in public because we think it's going to make us look weird or something. The argument against that is that it could be such a great dawah opportunity. Let's say you got up on a plane and you went to the place where they serve the food, the cabin where they're serving the food, and you said, hey, I'm just gonna put my janamaz here, I'm gonna pray. And there's no law against it.
Yeah.
I can pray on the plane. So I went and you go and you do that. That might start a conversation with the flight attendants and with others, like, oh, what did you just do there? And I said, I prayed, I did this. And just and on top of that, you're showing good character. That is so appealing to the everyday person, that this person is living this lifestyle and they're so kind and courteous, and look at the way they carry themselves. So we can do it in so many different ways. Dawah does not have to be me being on a stage and debating some person who has nasty things to say about Islam. Like, I mean, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. But that's a lot of it that just ends up being in theatrics and theater and spectacle, and just people get more entrenched on their sides because it's just like a vicious debate. But in fact, the reality is that the way we carry ourselves in conveying Islam has to be done with, like in the Quran, it says, call to the way of your Lord with wisdom and good words. And if you have to debate with them in the best manner. So not yelling, using bad language, making fun of other people's faith or whatnot, but doing it in a way which could effectively reach their hearts.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, that's kind of where I thought. But yeah, you raised so many points. Like, I felt like that got me thinking about so much. Yeah.
We all have the ability, and like you said, we don't need to be on these stages or doing theatrics or stuff like that. And there's endless stories, right? Like I heard a story of this dude, and he came from a super wealthy family, and one random day he tells the story now, and he's like, I just saw some dude making weird movements, and he stopped like walking because he was like just weirded out. And he asked his mom and dad, what's he doing? And they told him he's praying to who he believes is to be his creator. And years later, like, he goes, I'm sorry, not years and years later, they get back home from vacation, and right away this dude jumps on a laptop and goes, what is Islam? Muslim, blah blah blah, this and that, and embraces Islam. And to add to your example, there's a famous story of this woman who embraced Islam, and they asked her, right, and she got interviewed for the thing, which tells her story, and they said, did you read the Quran? Did you have an encounter? Did you meet a man that you liked and he turned out to be Muslim? Like, what was? And she goes, no, I till today, I don't even never picked up the Quran. She goes, like 16 years ago, they're like 16 years ago. She's like 16 years ago. I was at a company event. There was a dude at our table who literally said no to alcohol. And when people asked why, they're like, oh, he's Muslim, doesn't drink alcohol. And she says, literally in that moment, I saw just discipline, just a small piece of discipline. And then she said, I started putting pieces together because this person not only, the discipline and, refraining away from alcohol, but also like the way he just treated everyone else. Like, he was kind. No one had issues with this person. And she goes, that just opened up my mind to just researching Islam and becoming Muslim. It wasn't because I read the Quran. It wasn't because of this, that. 16 years ago at a company event, some dude just turned down alcohol. You never know. Allah, no one knows Allah's wisdom. Of course, we all know it's in the khutbahs. Whoever, Allah guides, no one can misguide. And, whoever Allah misguides, no one can guide, pretty much. Just do your part, trust in yourself. We all have ability, but don't be afraid to, try and just act, right? We need to do the action. The
Yeah,
action is lacking. Even right now in this so-called Israel conflict and this and that, mucho habla. It's just too much talking. I like what you got to say, but man, I'm not trying to, come at this like on a radical standpoint, but we've been protesting since, and it didn't work for no one. It didn't work for the blacks when they protested, for the killing of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, right? Protesting only works for, I don't want to say white people, but look at the protesting. Look at the minority protest of the LGBT. Bro, they literally changed the dictionary. We can't change our community. They changed the dictionary for an entire human species. We're more powerful, right? We need to always remember the movie Ants. Because once we realize that we're large in number, that's it. Look at Italy, bro. We can go off. I know it's already, been an hour or whatnot, but like, look at Italy, dog. MashaAllah, man. Like that's crazy. This is probably stuff we all thought of or imagined at one point in time in our life. Like, imagine if the people were united. And then you're just like, what am I thinking? Like, nah, that's too crazy. And look at Italy. I don't know if that's going to change, bro. Look at Nepal and the North India. What was that last year? They overthrew their government by force. You think
they had elections on Discord?
And yes, I was gonna say the way they elected. Look at the way they elected. Their next. It's crazy.
I also think like it's
possible.
Like it's
possible. Is what I'm.
Yeah. There's. I think the Quran really speaks to this, and this also we should go back to our sources and go back to, like, when it says in the Quran that hold on to the rope of Allah, that the rope of Allah is, I think, in some tafsirs, some interpretations, I think it is the Quran. But
yes,
there is, we do see in the Quran so many countless examples, and the verse is very explicit. How many times has a smaller group outlasted or defeated a much bigger group? And that's in the context.
Here's another Zaytuna point.
Yeah.
Arnold Toynbee's creative minority.
Exactly. I mean, how many times has a smaller group outlasted, defeated a much larger group with the help of Allah? And this is in the context of like David and Goliath. Mm-hmm. And so this using this story and as a way of telling the Muslims, this is when the Muslims moved to Medina, and they haven't fought the Battle of Badr yet. They haven't fought yet. And so they've been persecuted for 13 years. They're feeling overwhelmed and outnumbered. And then God sends them this David and Goliath story, in which the Bani Israel were oppressed and downtrodden and outnumbered and overwhelmed. And then God appoints a king for them. And they go fight Goliath, and they're outnumbered and overwhelmed, but they still end up winning. So this was to kind of reassure them that even a small group in difficult circumstances, if you're steadfast, if you hold on, not that, yes, skills are important, but for us, as I think what we're reminded of is if you hold on to your spiritual, intellectual virtues, if you hold on to steadfastness, patience, trust in Allah, devotion to the Quran and Sunnah, if you hold on to these, your victory is guaranteed, even if you're a small group. And that's in that story. I mean, and I think they had 300 plus in that battle too. When 313, the same thing with the Battle of Badr. They had small against a much larger group, against the disbelievers. And so many of these stories, there's even the sleepers of the cave. There's only a small group, and Allah gives them like protection and sustenance and support when they had to flee a tyrant who was persecuting them, and they fled, and Allah gave them protection. And they were all, and interestingly, they're all young people. They're not old people, right? So it constantly, we have this taught to us over and over and over again in the Quran that a small group is more than capable of defeating a lot. We don't live in a material world where we're just obsessed about, okay, let's just calculate power differential, and okay, this group has more assets, this group has more wealth and power, they're likely going to win on paper. But how many times do things on paper not go as they're planned? Even in sports, they have the betting odds, like, oh, this team is going to win, and then that team gets smashed. I mean, it's just even the odds get things wrong. And so that's actually a lesson for us, that the underdog is not always might not really be the underdog.
What did Prophet Muhammad tell Abu Bakr in the cave when the people were coming? And he says
like,
two,
but
three, if our third
yes.
is Allah, then yani, like, you know,
like, what do you think about two when the third is God?
Right.
Is Allah. And this is when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he was panicking. He's like, if they look down, they can see us, like, because we can see them, and it's like that close. And so
when you were talking,
100%. Everything is there, and really we just have to take it. And I don't mean to say this to discard all other knowledge, but in a way, yes, I will say this: we can trash everything. All we need is Quran and Sunnah. Like, I know I sound like Salafi right now, but like, because everything is there. It's all there. Everything yeah, exactly. I'm just, maybe they're onto something. I don't know.
First of all, we know that the evidence to that is everyone here. The evidence is the Ummah, because guess what? It wouldn't have gotten nowhere without Quran and Sunnah. All you need is Quran and Sunnah. That's your whole belief system, is Quran and Sunnah. That's how the fastest growing religion is growing, because Quran and Sunnah. So there's the evidence is there. The evidence is actually live. It's not just in the past, present, and future. As long as it continues to grow and people are embracing Islam, like true Islam, and this is Quran and Sunnah, and that's it.
Yeah, I saw this report. I was on Pew Research. It was this year or something. They came out with their report, and obviously everybody knows this, but they're like, oh, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. And I'm like, no, duh. And they're basically saying, they were looking at reasons why. And I don't know, I kind of just, given what we're seeing on the ground and the way that Islam is spreading, they were saying, this is mostly explained because Muslims in North Africa, Middle East, and other places, they're just having way more kids than everybody. And maybe that does play a role, but you can't deny the mass conversion that's taking place, right? Like, so this is what, I don't know, that was what I saw on Pew Research.
How many kids is we supposed to be having if we're going to be all of a sudden in the billions?
What?
Just think about it. Let's just say that's true.
It's just a stupid argument, bro. That's why our facial expressions is just like
research. How many kids are you going to be having then if that's the case? What's going on here?
Yeah, I pretty much. I'm like, that's what they wanted to. There might be some. There has to be some like bias in there, because like, from what we're seeing is that there's so much renewed interest and growth, and we know there's so many stories and so much evidence that Islam is spreading in other means, right? So it's not just, maybe we can you can check it out, but I don't know, it kind of like, it rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that, but anyway. Yeah.
We gotta know how to we got to know when to speak too, because if we say something and someone checks what we're saying or has an argument and we can't really defend what we're saying with knowledge and information, we got to know when, to otherwise we kind of making ourselves look foolish. You could be right. You could be 100% right. But I don't know you. You need to prove that you're right. What's your evidence? What's your claim? What's your this? What's your that? I need to know, like, where's this coming from? And at the same time, it should be one thing about human beings is we are very curious, very curious. So when people are seeing the mothers of Palestine saying Alhamdulillah while holding a dead baby, if no curiosity is sparking in you, check your heart, check your pulse, check your relationship with Satan, because something's not right. If you're not getting curiosity, if that's not making you curious like this, like how is, bro, like there's so many people who are like, look at Islam now just because of the mother holding a crying baby saying Alhamdulillah. So we chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself.
I think we ended off on a high note, guys.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Where is the carpenter?
The carpenter has to go carpenter. Allah make it easy for him.
Yeah, he has to go rebuild the. Never mind, I'm not gonna say it.
Yes, we'll send him the episode.
All right.
All right.
And I'm just laughing because I feel like we had one thing on the checklist. But that's good.
No, we hit a bunch.
We hit one thing on the checklist?
No, bro. We knocked out almost everything except for the blue sky robot thing.
Well, I think we hit a little bit of everything. Maybe
except for the robot thing, the blue sky social media account. There's the guy that he's actually in charge of like some bio AI like this robotic AI company. He has on a headset, and there's a robot that's following his every move. Did you guys see this video?
Man wearing humanoid mocap?
No, not was that me? No. What?
The blue sky thing?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, this video.
Yeah.
No, was it sent in the IG group chat or no?
Hold on. Let me see if I can.
So he kicks him in the balls or something?
Here we are. Look at the reaction of the robot.
That's funny. But I don't get it. Like, why did he?
Another robot highlight. Man wearing humanoid mocap suit kicks himself in the balls. So the idea is that like the robot follows the move of the man. The dude puts on his karate skills. Right? I know. It's the just.
Oh, dude! It reminds me.
I get it now. I get it now.
I think also that
That's so stupid though.
I forgot to mention this, but it just came to my mind. You know that whole dead internet theory?
Yeah.
About just everything is just bots now, or most of the internet activity. Is that true?
There is some significant percentage. There is some truth to that. There is some significant percentage of the internet that is bots. Like the Saudi government has. Now, watch. I'm not going to hedge because I'm stating this fact. The Saudi government has like a known bot army. The North Koreans got one. Yeah, and you can create your own bot army, just like virtual machines, and then you have apps running in those virtual machines, and just prompt. With creative prompting, you can do whatever you want. But hey, man, before you kill the high note, go watch the clip. Like, comment, subscribe. Share. Tune in next time.
What else was I gonna say?
I don't know. Wrap it up.
No, we're good. We don't need to.
Editor, handle that part right there.
Yeah, who is the editor?
Who
Omar
invited this guy?
or AI?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't say I haven't used, it's entirely AI
I
first.
just
But
realized that I've been spelling your name wrong in the group chat. I gotta give you double O's. I didn't know.
Oh, how have you been spelling it? HRUN?
Yeah, been given. I made. It was like a little more like exotic. Double O is kind of boring, you know.
wow.
No, double O's more like modern. I don't want to be like foreign.
Double O MTS.
So good, baby.
All right, yeah.
Yalla, lama. Sound
Salam alaikum.
Assalamu
good talk,
alaikum,
my
guys.
brother.